I need to get a tissue. Hold on. I should have had this ready. I knew I was going to cry. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jackie, and today I'm going to talk about masculinity. And I'm going to start to cry already. I'm going to talk about my positive experience with masculinity. Today would have been my grandfather's birthday, and my grandfather was the definition of healthy masculinity and real masculinity. You know, in today's day and age, we have an idea that masculinity is bad, and this concept that toxic masculinity is all masculinity. And it's interesting because the toxic masculinity that we see is not real masculinity, and we have a misconception about what masculine energy looks like. And when I say masculine energy, I'm not referring to any specific gender. I'm going to link an article in my website below that goes into the different traits of masculine and feminine energy. I could talk for an entire episode about this. I could talk for like an entire 5 episodes about this. And I don't want to make it about that. I want to make it about my grandfather, kind of like an ode to such a great man. And my grandfather was just an amazing man. He was everything that you would expect a good man to be. He was logical and practical. He was kind and compassionate, but he wasn't a pushover. And he was understanding and patient, and he never had to yell. His masculinity just commanded a certain level of respect that was just given to him by all of us. I have so many cousins, by all of us, and we all had a very special connection to him, and he was the type of man that made us all feel special. We all felt like we were his favorite. I felt like I was his favorite, but some of my other cousins felt that same way too, because he made sure to let us know that he cared about all of us. And he was fiercely protective over his family. Our family was the most important thing to him. And we all felt that so deeply. And he was just such a gentleman. He loved my grandmother so much. He passed about a month after his and my grandmother's 65th anniversary, and he was so sick at the time. He was going through dialysis a few times a week, and he couldn't drive anymore. He couldn't do anything really. He struggled to walk. He spent a lot of time in bed, and on the day of his 65th anniversary, a bunch of us went over there, and he made sure that we got him roses to give to my grandmother, and he wanted to put on a suit, and he wanted to look sharp. About 2 weeks before he passed, we were at his house. He was laying in the bed, and I was sitting in the chair in the room, and he was kind of sitting up, and he just looked over at me. He didn't move his body, he just moved his head, and he says, "When are you gonna bring a guy around?" And I said to him, "You know, Grandpa, you just celebrated your 65th anniversary, and my grandmother had a scrapbook from when they were first dating. She saved the straw wrappers from a hockey game that they went to. She saved the movie theater tickets, the 5-cent movie theater that they went to. She had the corsage she wore on one of the school dances they went to." And I said to my grandpa, "Imagine you're dating grandma at the time where she's putting her scrapbook together, and she says to you, 'Hey, I'm going to leave for 6 weeks,' or 'I have to leave for 3 months.'" Because at the time, I was traveling a lot for work. I was like, "It would be really hard for you to start a relationship with her." And he was like, "Yeah, you're right. He's like, "Let me ask you something." I said, "Yeah." And he's like, "Are you happy?" And I said, "You know, Pop, I really am." And he's like, "Well, then that's all that matters to me." And that's the man that he was. Even though he couldn't wrap his head around my lifestyle, especially nowadays, you know, going from someone so old school into technology. He used to call the cell phone the machine. He's like, you're on your machine over there. But he asked me if I was happy. And that's what was important to him. It wasn't that my happiness looked like the happiness that he had in mind for us, but he appreciated that I was happy and that he let me choose that happiness for myself. And he was just such a special man, and he did everything for our family. He was protective. He was all of the things that a masculine man is meant to be. We have this idea that masculine is defensive or controlling or even offensive. That's not a masculine man. That's an unbalanced masculine. If you go and read my article, I'm going to link it below, you can see the positive and the negative traits of positive masculinity, positive femininity, and unbalanced negative masculinity and unbalanced negative femininity. We have this conversation going on right now that the world needs less masculinity. The world needs less unhealthy masculinity for sure. The world definitely needs less unbalanced masculinity. But I wholeheartedly believe that if the world had more positive masculinity, like the masculinity that I got to experience with my grandfather, that I do still get to experience with my father, the world would be a better place, not a worse place. That masculinity is something that's so special, and it's something that we've taken for granted. It's something that we've manipulated. It's something that we don't really know what it is anymore. And I'm so grateful to have experienced healthy masculinity, and I'm so grateful to have known a man like my grandfather, a man that was so special and sharp and charismatic and funny. He was so funny. We would laugh so hard. And like I said, he didn't have to yell. He didn't have to be this angry masculine man, this idea that we have about masculinity, because his masculinity just commanded a certain level of respect, and we all just gave it to him. We didn't misbehave around him. We wouldn't act up. We would do whatever he asked us to do. If he asked us to help him around, we would help him. I am eternally grateful to have known and experienced that masculinity. I'm eternally grateful to have known such a good man and to have his lineage, his blood running through me. And I just wanted to share a little bit about that today. When I realized that today would have been my grandfather's birthday, I knew that that's what I had to talk about. I think that it's a conversation that we need to kind of shift the narrative that we have going on right now, because more of the masculinity that my grandfather embodied, if we had more of that, we wouldn't be in such a sad state right now, you know? So that's what I have to say for today. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. My name is Jackie, and you can engage with me if you want to drop a comment below. You can find me on social media. I'm at Jackie is Alive on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. I post new videos every week, so don't forget to click subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Thank you so much.